A new record of physical endurance has been set that a doctor calls, quote, completely unknown to modern medicine. And in order to accomplish the feat, Croatian freediver Vitomir Maricic had to endure intense physical pain. It wasn't done in the ocean or a traditional swimming pool, though he trains in both. The new Guinness World Record was accomplished in a small pool inside a Croatian hotel. Maricic was surrounded by onlookers and at least one medical professional as he held his breath for longer than previously thought possible, 29 minutes and 3 seconds. Before this happened, he inhaled pure oxygen for 10 minutes to get as much as he could into his blood, and during the attempt, he says he struggled mentally, thinking of quitting about halfway through, and physically, with intestinal bleeding, convulsions, and a massive headache. It's not something even aspiring freedivers should do. But Maricic's doctor says the achievement opens up new perspectives that maybe one day could be used to help medical patients. Simply breathtaking. Hi, I'm Azuz. This is the world from A to Z, and Fridays are awesome unless your flight gets canceled. That's something that could impact dozens of airports and thousands of airline passengers starting today. It follows an announcement by the U.S. Transportation Department that about 10% of flights needed to be reduced nationwide, between 3,500 and 4,000 flights per day, and it's because of the ongoing U.S. government shutdown. How? For weeks, air traffic controllers have been working without paychecks. They usually get back pay, everything they've earned when a shutdown ends. But until that happens, some are having trouble making ends meet, and an increasing number are calling out sick. Republicans and Democrats in Congress continue to blame each other for the shutdown, but while it continues, flight reductions are expected coast to coast. Major airlines like Delta, American, and Southwest say the vast majority of their passengers will not be impacted, and some airports won't see any cancellations. But many that could are big ones. Dallas-Fort Worth, Reagan National in the capital, Chicago O'Hare and Midway, New York Kennedy and LaGuardia, Los Angeles and Orlando, and Atlanta Hartsfield, the busiest airport on Earth. Experts say passengers can get their money back if their flight is canceled, but the inconvenience and disruptions might sting as the holiday travel season approaches.
Word of knowledge. Which of these terms was invented the most recently? Bingeable, dumpster fire, nomophobia, doom scrolling. Appearing sometime between 2016 and 2020, doom scrolling is defined as spending a lot of time looking at online content that troubles you.
It's become a way to fill time, and sometimes a person doesn't even realize how much time they're spending on a device.
Unfortunately, doom scrolling has become a very common and unhealthy practice in our society.
Psychologist Adam Borland with Cleveland Clinic says constantly looking at disturbing and anxiety-provoking material on social media takes a toll on mental health. Too much exposure can fuel stress and lead to increased anxiety, low mood, sleep disturbances, irritability, and it can even create problems at home or work.
Oftentimes people complain about losing long periods of time scrolling through their phone because it becomes addictive.
To stop yourself from doom scrolling, Borland says to start with mindfulness, focus on the present moment, establish healthy boundaries on when and when not to use devices, monitor which sites you follow and how they affect your mood, stress, and anxiety levels. He says it may be time to unfollow some of those accounts, have a support system of people that can help during a hard time, and finally, put the device down. Instead, fill your time with exercising, getting outdoors, or engaging in something creative.
It's important for people to remember that they have a choice in all of this. They have a choice as to how much upsetting content they're accessing. And when they have that choice, that comes with a sense of control.
I'm Mandy Gaither.
On this date in world history.
A winter storm known as the White Hurricane struck the Great Lakes on November 7, 1913. But one characteristic that made it so bad was that it didn't stop then. The blizzard lasted 4 days and brought hurricane-force winds and 35-foot waves to the Great Lakes. It sank or stranded dozens of ships and killed about 250 people. On this date in 1944, incumbent U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt defeated New York Governor Thomas E. Dewey in a presidential election. What made that more significant was that it would start FDR's 4th term as president, something that hadn't happened before and hasn't happened since. A 2-term limit was set in 1951 with the ratification of the 22nd Amendment. And speaking of elections, the one on November 7th, 2000 was noteworthy because it wasn't immediately clear who'd won the vote. Democratic nominee Al Gore won the popular vote, but Republican nominee George W. Bush was leading in the Electoral College when initial results from Florida favored him. But the vote there was so close they triggered a recount in the state, and it wasn't until that December that the U.S. Supreme Court stopped the recount, ending a major legal battle and leading to Bush's confirmation as the nation's next president.
Ever start to say something and suddenly you just can't think of the word you need? You might say it's at the tip of your tongue. Sometimes people know what word they're trying to say and can often think of its meaning, but when their brain reaches into its file cabinet to start speaking the word, it draws a blank. This is called tip of the tongue syndrome. And it can result in some pretty comical descriptions. Soup might become wet salad. A public bus might be called a big friendly car, or any crazy word mashup to get the point across. But why does it happen? In a nutshell, we're not sure. Chronic issues, like consistently not being able to name objects, called anomia, can be the result of a brain injury or mental decline. But tip of the tongue syndrome can happen randomly to people with perfectly healthy brains, though it does occur more often when people are tired. And because it randomly occurs, it's pretty hard to study. Some scientific studies have been able to manufacture tip-of-the-tongue moments by defining an uncommon but well-known word for participants and asking them to give the name. Research has found that TOT syndrome is more prominent in older age groups, but they still aren't positive why. Maybe it's that our brain slows down as we age. Some have suggested it's because older people just have more knowledge to sort through before they find the right word. But just because we don't know why it happens doesn't mean you can't protect yourself from having to ask for a glass of see-through drink or telling your teacher you forgot your floppy sheet at home. If a word is on the tip of your tongue, the best way to make sure it doesn't get stuck again is to not get the answer right away. Don't just run and look up the answer online or have someone finish your sentence. Ask for a hint from a friend, maybe a word it rhymes with or the first letter, and think about it. That will help form stronger neural pathways to the word in the future, making your brain less likely to misplace the word and you less likely to, oh, hang on, I've almost got it.
Working in an extra mention on our fantastic 4 for Friday, we start with Coach Rawls' class. From Lexa, Arkansas, we welcome the Bears of Barton High School. And how about the Panthers in Chicago, Illinois? We're talking about Norwood Park School, where Miss Bruno's class is watching. Now for the Birds. First, the Blackhawks of Brandon Middle School in Ortonville, Michigan. Hello to Miss Kameni's class. And finally, the Golden Eagles are here from Ferndale High School. Mr. Ganger's class, we see you in Ferndale, Washington. Horses were more common in sheriff's departments when California was still the Wild West. But Cookie the miniature horse is now officially a sheriff's ambassador in Monterey County. Cookie is a rescue. Deputy Rebecca Gordano, who's given a lot of animals a second chance, saved this horse from being neglected. Now, following her swearing-in ceremony, Cookie will get a lot of attention, serving as a way for law enforcement to connect with the community. You can see right out of the gate how she could bring unbridled joy, trotting out a bit of harness horseplay to crop any trouble, rein it in, or halter it all together in a way that bucks the trends of foolish crime and keeps things stable. Cookie is more than a mare carrot. She's a horse shoe-in for a main attraction who's gal up for the challenge of a charitable outreach eventer that canters even to naysayers. Plus, what better way to pull a paddy wagon? I'm Carl Azuz, horsing around on the world from A to Z. Thank you for being the best audience ever. You mean the world to me.